about 2 hours deep diving on Twitter, and I'm pretty sure I lost faith in the future of humanity as a whole. So like this up so I can at least have something happy to think about when I'm having nightmares of the things I saw. Poppytwt is literally something straight out of every parent's nightmares. Like, you know how when you first got your phone or computer or a tablet or whatever, and your parents and teachers are like, oh, stranger danger, there's weird people on the internet that I'm going to try to do this, and that, and the other. Yeah, that's literally what Poppytwt is. Twitter user nsfwmcyt put into words literally exactly what Poppytwt is. And because I'm not good at summaries, I'm just going to copy what they wrote, and here it goes. So, overall, these so-called Poppytwt members are young adults, and in most cases teens, making sexual content aimed at minors under the age of 18, which, like Average stated, is quite literally against the law. There are just so many ways I could go about making this video. Like, the things I've seen are insanely horrible. But for right now, I'm going to focus tunnel vision on why Poppytwt is bad, or why what they do is morally really messed up. I sincerely believe that most, if not all, Poppytwt members are very seriously mentally ill. Some like to excuse what they're doing as a quote-unquote coping mechanism, using that being like, well, it's not bad if it's a coping mechanism. Exactly like Average had said in his tweets. A lot of people are like, oh, it's not bad because it's a coping mechanism, which is defined as a psychological reaction to stress and anxiety. Coping mechanisms do exist, but there's two types, healthy and unhealthy coping mechanisms. Healthy coping mechanisms relate but are not limited to listening to music, going to therapy, exercising, meditating, doing yoga, etc., etc., etc. Not whatever this monstrosity is. By definition, this mess is the exact opposite of a healthy coping mechanism. Unhealthy coping mechanisms relate but are not limited to isolating oneself in a bad way, lashing out, doing addictive substances, staying up all night, overeating, and excessive splurging, and probably sexualizing kids and or random strangers you don't know. Looking at you, Poppytwt. Okay, so yes, we've established that, what they're doing is bad. I mean, pretty sure everybody with eyes and common sense can see that what they're doing. And, there's probably something very, very wrong with them. But why exactly is it wrong? And, watch out, guys, because we're about to get super, super better. But why is anything we do wrong? Why is murder bad? Why is being mean to others bad? Why is, tripping a granny down the stairs and pushing her into a lake of fire bad? Like, who cares about that? Why are all these things considered bad? It's because of morals. And morals is what most of Poppytwt lacks. Without morals, we're literally just mindless, destructive animals. Pass it on. I mean, even with morals, a lot of us are mindless, destructive animals. That's why pushing a granny down some steps and into lava is a bad thing, because of morals. People generally don't do that because they have common sense. And we need morals to have a healthy environment. If everybody was just allowed to do whatever they wanted to do, like in the Purge or something like that, well, we'd be living in a post-apocalyptic world. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that all the way wrong, but we're not running over and doing it. But morals are needed, and even morals even go into play with stuff like this. Like, they might say it's fiction, or I said it online, and not really. But if you get that into your head, if you start thinking with that mindset, saying you can say anything, what happens if you, see one of your content creators walking down the street, or you at VidCon or something, and the stuff you put on Twitter, it starts affecting your mind, and you're just like, oh, I'd really like to do this, that, and the other with them. Why? you may not think that it's affecting you, but if you start seeing those things in your community, or you start writing those things, eventually you're gonna have that mindset. And when you see someone, content creator or not, you're going to be, appropriating that behavior. And in your head, you're going to be thinking about that, and you're just going to go with it because you've been conditioned to think, oh, it's okay as long as I don't do it. And that leads to crazy people. Pass it on. Honestly, just need to go back to the times where people kept everything to themselves and were like ashamed. Like, how, I can't think of a good example right now, but TikTok. When TikTok was going out and people were so ashamed to have TikTok, and they'd be like, oh, I only downloaded it to see what the hype was or stuff like that. We need to go back to that era, but with Poppytwt, or just with any Twitter, with Twitter as a whole. People need to be ashamed of the things they say and the things they think, because it's unhealthy. Y'all are nasty. Y'all deserve prison. Like, if these people are so confident in saying or doing what they're doing anonymously, I can't speak no English. Me no hablo español. Nah, that was completely wrong too. Anyways, if these people can say, if these people can say all this and type all this or have conversations about all this over a screen, how are they going to act in real life if they're giving a chance? This is how the black market probably works. I'm sure little old Timmy was at the time like, oh, I like to see people torture people. Ha, ha, ha. Oh, you like to see people torture people? Oh, ha, ha, ha. It's just a joke. We wouldn't do that now. Fast forward 5 years, and little Timmy is on the black market gutting people for a living. Do we see the parallels here? Do we see how appropriating this behavior on Twitter can lead to people doing it in real life, or thinking it's appropriate in real life? Because I've seen some of these tweets. I've been seeing how y'all acting on my timeline. I've seen it. It's crazy. Y'all are crazy. But anyways, the worst thing is that these people on Poppytwt aren't only dangerous to the content creators they post about. Like, yes, well, I don't know if dangerous was the right word, but like, it probably is dangerous, because Poppytwt is insane. I've seen people make jokes, or I don't know if they weren't jokes. They definitely weren't jokes, but they were making stuff about how they would find these people's addresses, and it's just, they're not only dangerous to those content creators they say stuff about, but they're literally also dangerous to themselves. Like, they've literally been known to suicide bait people, aka pretend they committed die for sympathy points, and be like, oh my gosh, you guys were bullying me, as we should. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna post pictures in the hospital or pretend I did this bad, terrible thing and make everybody feel sorry for me. And they've also been known to share compromising pictures of themselves through DMs and Twitter. And scratch his head, I don't know if you remember this, but follow-up point, a good amount of Poppytwt are minors themselves, which makes that very, very illegal. So, I don't understand how people can be like, oh, Poppytwt isn't as bad as you guys say it is. What about the people who are committing die or fake committing die for sympathy points? That's literal manipulation. What about these kids that are posting these pictures for everybody that follows them to see? That's not okay. That's against the law. Shaking my head. I know you guys can't see me, but I'm raging. I'm shaking in my chair because people think this is a good thing. If you guys saw half the things I saw, you'd just be seizing on the floor right now. A good example of a quote-unquote scandal, I guess, or whatever, involving a Twitter user that went by the name Jules. I know a while back, but when I was reading when I was reading Average's tweets, that they came up, and I said we would get to them later. Well, here's the later, I guess. They were an 18-year-old or older person cyber dating 3 minors. I think what it said they were 21 to 25, somewhere in that age range. Yeah, they were dating like 15/16-year-olds. You know, this wasn't a Call Me Carson situation where they were like 17 and 19. No, they were like 25 and 16, which I don't know if you guys know, but haha, that's illegal. That's illegal. You know? I mean, this stuff is so crazy because this is literally the nonsense you hear your parents warn you about and you just shrug it off. Like, somebody tells you monsters are real, you're probably like, oh, haha, monsters are real. And your parent, this is like the same situation. Like, your parents tell you there's creepy people on the internet and you're like, oh, haha, they're old. They don't know what they're talking about. No, that stuff is real. Poppytwt just opens up a safe space for these weird internet pedos in a relatively huge community. Like, they just hide behind the rest of the dream stands or whatever. Because, don't even get me started, because a lot of those, they'll just say anything about people on the timeline. Like, and those Poppytwt Twitter people, they just hide behind this. Like, somebody be like, oh my gosh, you're just so hot. And they'll be like, oh yes, I want to kidnap him and hide him in my basement and let the rats come and eat him up. And everybody else just look at them like, what? And they're like, ah ha ha, slash J. Can you tell I'm fed up? Because I'm fed up. Like, one of the victims, they uploaded screenshots and proof of all the things that Jules said over a Google Doc. And I'm not even going to go into all of that because there are 35 full pages of screenshots. And that's literally not even counting everything they said, because obviously the person couldn't put every single screenshot, every single text messages of what them and Jules' conversation is. But 35 of those text messages were incriminating. Not 35 texts, but 35 pages. That's probably like what? Two screenshots per page? Let me check real quick. Yeah, it's about 1 screenshot per page, and so that's at least 34. I mean, not 34. At least 35 things that Jules. 35 of those text messages were fully incriminating, that they just had to get out there and had to show the world what Jules said. And there's like, what, 6 bubbles of text messages on all of those lines. And like, if you do 6 times 35, which I won't, well, I'll get a calculator real quick. It's like, well, I'm gonna check real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so there's like 6 pieces of text that you can, text bubbles you can put on. 35 times 6, that's 210 messages. At least 210 messages that Jules and them conversed together were incriminating enough that they had to include it on the Google Doc. And who knows how long they've talked. Well, it probably says it, but I'm not going back and reading that because it just messed with me. But for however long they talk, at least 210 of those text messages that they sent back and forth were incriminating. We see the problems with this, right? We see the problems with. We see what's going on, right? Because Poppytwt is literally giving children the room and the space to be things they aren't, aka adult. When has that ever been good? Like, there's no positive side effects that these kids are gonna gain from interacting with each other and grown adults in this way. It's disgusting. It's wrong. It's repulsive. Whatever word you want to use, it's ugly. It's nasty. There's literally not enough words in the dictionary to describe Poppytwt. They're literally just encouraging this unhealthy, nasty behavior, and they're just grooming a whole new populace of stalkers, pedos, and weirdos. I don't know. Freedom of speech is no longer allowed if you're a weirdo. I hate deep diving. I need to go to like the shallow end of the pool or something and drown myself, because this ain't it. I'm tired of swimming with the big boys. Okay, so moral of the story. If you're 18 plus, aka an adult, and you're on Poppytwt, you're a weird, sick, perverted pedophile, and you disgust me. No exceptions. I need financial compensation. Please subscribe.